She did not see this coming. Kellyanne Conway's always been known to never back down from a challenge, and she put it at full display once again as she gave a talk at Harvard to discuss the latest aftermath of the presidential election. She did a Q&A session after the talk, and one student tried to corner her with rude and confrontational questions, hoping to score some points, but what unfolded next was phenomenal because Conway's calm yet sharp response not only silenced her critic, but left the entire room stunned. As always, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more videos just like this.
I wanted to ask, since the last time you've been here was in 2016, I wanted to ask a question about your job as a White House spokesperson. In that role, you said things that were often pretty audacious, often caused people to question things that they have seen with their own eyes. And so I'm curious, in that role, I was always wondering whether it was a survival response in what seemed like was a very chaotic White House, or was it a strategy? So was it strategy or was it survival? You know, all the bantering with journalists, the alternative facts.
First of all, Kellyanne was never the White House spokesperson. In fact, she turned down the role when Trump offered it to her. Instead, she served as a senior counselor to the president between 2017 and 2020. But let's get one thing straight. This is nothing but a loaded question, which is designed less to seek a genuine answer and more to provoke an emotional reaction. It isn't asked in good faith. Instead, it is carefully crafted to put the person answering on the defensive. This tactic's not only an attempt at dialogue, but a strategy to vilify and discredit. The goal is to frame the respondent as ignorant, hateful, or out of touch, no matter what they say. It's a win-win for the person asking the question because their opponent either stumbles or they get the emotional response they were fishing for. Not with Kellyanne, though, because she knew what the stage was being set up for and immediately went on the offensive.
Do you know what alternative facts meant?
I'm aware.
Can you please explain it for us? So tell the person who uttered it on her third Sunday show the day looking into a blank camera and then immediately said what I meant.
Well, we could also do other examples. I mean,
No, you can answer the question, though. You have to be fair. You're not going to go back 8 years and do that.
Well, I asked you a question about your role in the White House.
You gave me two choices. You gave me two choices, and they're both inaccurate.
So alternative facts, I'm assuming, mean...
Oh, you're assuming. Go ahead. I've talked about it in many interviews. I wrote a whole book about it.
It's interesting that you decide to come here and know that you're going to be accepting questions from students, and yet...
Okay, so then I'll answer it. Thank you for your question.
The way she shuts her down is a true masterpiece. You see, Conway isn't just a seasoned political strategist. She's also an expert at reading between the lines and sniffing out hidden agendas. It's a skill that has served her well, especially during Trump's first presidential campaign, where she played a pivotal role in turning his chances around. She joined the campaign in August of that year, and the rest is history. If the woke student had done a little bit of homework, she'd realize that she wasn't just sparring with a talking head. She was going toe-to-toe with the person who helped engineer one of the most surprising political victories in modern history. And simply put, Conway is not someone you catch off guard. She's dealt with the media, political adversaries, and activists for decades, and she's excellent at spotting ulterior motives.
So I think your choices were survivor's response. That's rich. Or since you know nothing about me. Or banter. What was it? Something else silly.
I said strategy or survival.
Strategy.
Not survivor's response.
How about trying it? First of all, my job was counselor to the president. I said no to press secretary 42 minutes after President Trump was elected. He offered me that job. He said, you'd be great at that. I said, I would be terrible at that. I'm not even sure what they do. Some days I'm still not sure. Clearly I'm not sure after these 4 years. The border's secure. President Biden is behind the scenes. He's a trapeze artist and a triathlete. You just can't see it. So I hope you take these same concerns to the people who have lied to your face for 4 years in this administration, all the way to this crushing defeat of a sitting vice president who could have been the first female president of color in our nation's history.
That's absolutely right. For years, the left relentlessly criticized Trump's press secretaries and spokespersons, labeling them as liars and accusing them of spreading misinformation. Whether it was Sean Spicer's comments about inaugural crowd sizes, Sarah Huckabee Sanders defending Trump's policies, or Kayleigh McEnany holding firm against a barrage of tough questions, the criticism was nonstop. These individuals were dissected, mocked, and vilified daily as the MSM and pundits made it their mission to portray them as dishonest mouthpieces. By the way, if you still haven't liked the video or subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? Things took a 180 turn with Biden's press secretary, though, and there wasn't a short of questionable statements, misleading information, or flat out refusing to address issues. This isn't about defending one side over the other, far from it. It's about recognizing hypocrisy. If honesty and transparency in government truly matter, then the standards should be consistent.
Alternative facts was very simple. It was, I meant to say alternative information, additional facts. It wasn't George Orwell. It wasn't a new set of facts. And you can read my whole book. There's a whole chapter about it where I explain it. I don't defend it myself. I explain it. And if you want to be judged by 2 words in your life, it wouldn't take me much time to find those 2 words. But I don't do that. I don't look at people that way. Sadie, I think we're going to have to go a little bit more deeply than me giving some advice on how people find common ground.
I get the argument that people shouldn't be reduced to a single questionable thing they said or did years ago. Mistakes happen, and it's important to allow space for growth and redemption. That said, we can't just ignore or sugarcoat these moments, especially when they had real-world impact. Kellyanne Conway's alternative facts comment is a perfect example. It wasn't just a slip of the tongue, it was a poorly chosen phrase that sparked widespread criticism for a good reason. Let's not overcomplicate it or try to philosophize it as additional info. Facts are facts, and there's no alternative version to them. The woke culture also tried doing something similar to just a few years ago, later with the My Truth term, which is another attempt at blurring the lines of what is real and what those in power want you to believe.
And I will say this, you go back to 2016, the media, who I guess just has a whole living of getting the elections wrong, on that they're consistent. They couldn't get enough of Donald Trump and Kellyanne Conway during the election. Every show, every minute, So I'm well on the record as saying which states he was going to win, how he was going to win in 2016, where he was going to win. And then he won, and people changed. They turned like that. Just when we need the media's help to tell the country what's going on, to co-parent the White House and the mainstream media, to responsibly co-parent the country for 4 to 8 years. Instead, they turn out to be a lot of deadbeat dads, interested in not getting the story, but getting the president and tearing us down. And go back and look at it. But they have a horrible record. I mean, Kamala Harris is winning Iowa by 4 points, 3 points. Trump wins it by 13. That's just election interference. So, next.
Love him or hate him, you can't deny that Trump's entry into politics did something no one expected, as it pulled back the curtain on the MSM and exposed their biases and deceptive tactics, proving how narratives can be spun to serve specific agendas. One of the most gross examples was the Hunter Biden laptop story, which was labeled as Russian disinformation by the MSM during the 2020 election. Truth eventually came out, proving that Trump and his supporters were right. Stories like this opened the eyes of many, showing that the media wasn't simply reporting facts, it was actively shaping narratives to protect certain figures and discredit others. But I'd love to know your thoughts here, so let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below. And by the way, if you love seeing woke people get owned, we have another video where Scott Jennings completely obliterates the CNN panel, so click here to play that next. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.